Hey guys, welcome back to Chaos Core Tech. My name's Garrett, and today I have another 3D model for you. This is the video series where every week I bring you a new 3D model to print, and my wife makes it look way better by painting it. So for last week's model, I created Rowlet, one of the Pokemon Sun and Moon starters, the grass type actually. You can see that video up here, click the little eye. And I decided I was going to do the rest of them. So this video will be Litten. This is the fire type starter, and I'll put a little picture right over here so you can see what we're going for. So first, I'll run through the creation of this print and how we painted it, and then I'll show it off and we'll talk a little more about it. So to create this model, I went into Fusion 360, and I pulled up all of the reference images that Pokemon has given us so far, which isn't a lot, but it's enough to know roughly the dimensions of Litten and all of its features. Now, I actually used the Sculpt environment in Fusion 360 to create this model, and I actually learned quite a bit about the process here, considering this is only my second time doing this. So I started with the head, I molded that to shape, and then extruded out the body and part of the tail and moved to the legs. And once I had the basic shape of everything, I moved to sketches to create some of the additional details, like the whiskers and the eyes. And basically, I just created a sketch of the shape that I wanted, I extruded those out, and then I intersected them with the sculpted body that I had, and I was able to pull certain details out of that while keeping the rough outlines of the geometry there. The whole process took me about 8 hours to model, and once I was done, I exported it as an STL and sent it over to my Robo 3D R1 printer. Now, I printed this at 0.1mm layer height with 20% infill, and that was just to get the highest quality finish I could. Now, I did use supports and a raft for this just because I didn't want to split the model. I wanted to print in one piece, so it needed supports underneath because the body would print over nothing. Now, I used Hatchbox white PLA to print this, and it took about 6 hours to print total. And then after getting it off the printer and removing all the support material, I handed it off to my wife for post-processing. Now, she used a combination of a file, a box cutter, and some nail cuticle clippers to clean up the areas where the support material was and remove any that was a little bit stubborn coming off. And she also cleaned up any artifacts left from the printer. So after that, she moved on to painting it. She started with an automotive primer, and these are actually fill primers, and they help to kind of seal up the print lines and just make it look like a better finish overall. And then after the primer was dry, she moved on to painting the black fur, and she used water-based acrylic paints and a paintbrush to do this. And then after that dried, pretty much all that was left was to paint the details, and that is the red spots on the fur and the eyes. And for this, she used a paintbrush. And with all that done, we are left with the finished product, and here you have it. This is Litten. Now, I think this model turned out pretty good. Like I said, this was only my second time using the Sculpt environment in Fusion 360. And I did learn quite a bit in the process. I tried to create the body in one sort of shape in the Sculpt environment. I think if I were to do it again, I would create the head as its own shape and then move on to the body as another shape and try to keep the shapes separate as much as possible, just because some of the crease lines that you have in there can get kind of messy when you need to move things around. Because initially when I modeled it, I made the head too low. So afterwards, I had to move the head upward. Then I had to spend some time making sure the connection to the body looked normal after that. Alright, so here we have Litten. Now let me know what you guys thought about this down in the comments. I'm really interested to see. Also, if you've not seen the Rowlet video, hit the little eye up in the corner and check that out. Now that Litten is done, I will be making Poplio, the water starter. So make sure you get subscribed because that video should be coming later this week or early next week. Alright guys, well that's it for me. See you next time.